Hey everyone. So, we already know how many people feel stuck in the limitations of conventional medicine, and that's exactly why I created Holistic Health with Melissa to take you on a journey from conventional to crunchy. Here, you'll get empowering wellness insights, practical tips, and faith centered strategies to help you feel your absolute best. In each episode, we'll dig into what true health and wellness really means. We'll dive into nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, and detox, all things so important to your health. And we'll chat about raising kids with intention and living life of faith. So join me to reclaim your energy, embrace your healthiest life, and find joy and purpose along the way. Your current situation, your current pain, it wasn't your fault, and it doesn't have to define you. But what you do from here is your choice. Hi, friend. Do you feel like you've done all the things? You've tried therapy, the pills, the diets, the supplements, and you're still wondering, why do I not feel like myself? You have a good life, but something still feels missing. You don't feel fully energized, alive, peaceful, or free, and deep down, you know you were made for more. That's exactly why I created the Freedom Collective. This unique 6-month coaching experience with community and one-to-one support is designed to help women stop forcing healing and finally feel safe in their bodies again. We blend science, scripture, somatic healing, nervous system restoration, mindset work, and Christ-centered identity to heal the whole person, body, soul, and spirit. Because true healing isn't just symptom management. It's becoming rooted, rewired, and restored so you can live from peace, freedom, and overflow. If this sounds supportive to you, check out the details on my website and reach out for a free clarity call to see if it's a good fit for you. I would love to walk alongside you. Hey everyone, welcome back to Holistic Health with Melissa. I am so excited that you are here. I am solo today, as you can see, and I want to ask you, what if one of the worst things that's ever happened to you became the foundation for some of the best parts of who you become? And that's what I really want to talk about today. That's why I'm here solo, because I really want to unpack the good things that can come from trauma. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because most people think like trauma is bad, right? And I agree. Nobody wants to experience trauma. And I'm not saying that trauma is like some gift, but the things that come from trauma, the healing that comes on the other side of trauma can be a gift. And so that's why I really want to talk about that, because I think that trauma, we can just believe that it's like this doom and gloom, especially nowadays. Like there's so much talk about it. It's like there's this doom and gloom kind of like, cloud over trauma. And it's like, oh, if you had this happen to you, you're doomed. Trauma is stored in your body. How do you even release it? Like all of those things, right? And I think it's an important conversation to recognize that there is actually some good that can come from the healing after trauma. And being proud of that, I know I feel proud of it. Like obviously my own trauma, my own story, like do I wish to go back and re-experience any of those things? No. God, no. But I feel really proud of myself in the way that I have grown and healed on the other side of the trauma that I've experienced. So I want to talk first about what is called post-traumatic growth. This term was coined by psychologists in the 1990s, Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun. I was researching them and like reading a bunch about post-traumatic growth in preparation for this episode. And it's really the positive psychological change that follows any trauma or adversity. So that is like post-traumatic growth, right? Is like, why do some people have trauma happen to them and really grow and expand and become better versions of themselves while other people don't? Post-traumatic growth is different from resilience, because resilience is really like the ability to like bounce back from adversity or come back to like baseline. But post-traumatic growth is actually about becoming stronger because of the work that you have done working through the trauma. And it's interesting, that question, like, why do some people experience post-traumatic growth and others don't? And because it doesn't happen automatically, right? And I read some articles, and there's a lot of different things that play into it, but it's, obviously resources, support, family support, friend support, your own personal like desire and motivation, and then being able to like recognize something good coming from something so bad, and having really like that perspective that even though this happened to me, I don't have to live there. And some people are able to have that perspective and some aren't. And I think that's a really like deep philosophical question. Like, why are some people able to experience that and others aren't? I don't know that I have the answer to it, but I really do find it fascinating that just the whole concept of why we're, why some people are and some people aren't. I think what I landed on pretty consistently through the research that I was doing is that the difference between those who are able to turn their trauma into triumph and those who stay stuck in it is that people who actually experience this post-traumatic growth, they work through the trauma, they work through the emotions and the beliefs and the stagnation and pain, while others who don't experience post-traumatic growth tend to suppress it or avoid it. Like, if I just don't acknowledge that it exists, then it's not going to hurt me. And that's completely not true. Not only does it not hurt you, but it also keeps you stuck and prevents you from growing through it. And then the other commonality that I found was that meaning-making piece, right? People being able to make sense of their story and find purpose on the other side of whatever the painful event was, that trauma event. Because choosing what your story means will shape you, right? If you believe that the trauma happened to me and I am a victim, you're going to show up as a victim in every area of your life. That just is what it is. But if you believe that the trauma happened and that it wasn't your fault and that you can heal and grow on the other side of it, you're going to also be right. And then we already talked about that healthy support, like having a relationship with a higher power, having community support, family support, therapy, coaching, and like deep interpersonal relationships. So the good things that come from trauma, this all started when I was having a conversation with a client who was explaining to me that she is somebody who is just very empathetic and just really notices very slight changes even in somebody's demeanor when she's like in an interpersonal like connection, whether it's with her husband or a friend or somebody she's working with. Like, she notices changes in emotions in the other person very quickly, and she notices herself feeling affected by the other person's emotions. So if their emotions turn negative, if they're in a bad mood, if they're frustrated, if they're upset, if they're depressed, she feels herself absorbing that emotion. And she said, I don't know how to not do that anymore. I'm just somebody who really absorbs other people's emotions, and I'm just really keenly aware of it. And I told her, it's not about not noticing it, because noticing it is actually a strength. Noticing other people's emotions around you without them actually saying, it's not like somebody's coming to her and saying like, well, I mean, maybe sometimes, but like as a general rule, we're talking about when somebody isn't verbalizing that change of emotion, when they're just saying like, when they're not saying anything and they're just, maybe having different body language, or maybe, withdrawing, not talking as much, maybe isolating, like whatever it is, she notices that really, picks up on those little cues. And I actually think that that's a strength. Yes, it's a trauma response, right? We learned that we had to figure out what other people's emotions were in order to keep ourselves safe. Because if I can predict when my mother or father or somebody's going to be upset, then I can try to make them not upset, and then I can stay safe myself. And so for her, that's really the pattern that came up. But noticing it now as an adult and recognizing it actually gives her, like, not only is it a strength, but it gives her an immense amount of power, because she can use that to help her in relationships. And being keenly aware of other people's emotions can actually make you a really good servant, right? And make you a really great communicator, and somebody who's really sees people really deeply on a deeper level than some, if somebody isn't aware of that. So much of the time, like, we're just very caught up in our own emotions that we don't even realize the other people's emotions, right? So being able to recognize other people's emotions without a clear, like, verbalization of that, I think is a strength. So having that greater empathy and compassion, and then increased emotional intelligence, better self-awareness, or more self-awareness, just being aware of like how you are showing up in the world. A lot of times we have these patterns that are deeply ingrained inside of us, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you believe a certain thing about yourself, that's how you're going to show up in every circumstance in your life. And it could really be to the detriment or to the betterment of you. But recognizing that awareness is always the first step. So being more self-aware is going to serve you. And generally that is a positive thing that comes from healing trauma. Stronger intuition and discernment, increased resilience, more confidence, because you have overcome difficult things. You've seen yourself get through them, come out on the other side, and you didn't die, right? Greater appreciation for life and for your experiences. Healthier boundaries, more authenticity, less people pleasing, less performance. This is one that I think takes some time. And this is really the crux of like what the work that I do with women is really that identity piece. You get more authenticity, and you become more authentic when you come home to who you truly are. We can't be authentic when we are in these people-pleasing, performance-driven patterns, because we're not honoring our own needs and our own experiences. So that's really like the bulk of the work that I do, is this identity nervous system work. And that helps women become more authentic, because they're coming home to themselves and they're honoring what their own journey is, and what they need. Greater independence, while also developing healthy interdependence and being able to rely on other people. Increased courage to take risks, because again, you've been through difficult things. You know what it's like to come through on the other side, and you know that like even if something hard happens, you're gonna survive. More intentional relationships, and that really goes into this like discernment, intuition piece, where you recognize where maybe relationships are not aligned more quickly, and you're able to either end those or move on. You're able to enter into other relationships more easily, and trust more deeply, I think, both yourself and other people, which again, like that can be to the detriment. It can also be to the betterment. I think it's a strength. Having greater purpose and calling, deeper spiritual connection to God, and more hope for others, because you've experienced healing yourself. So you know what's possible for yourself, so you can see it in other people. So those are just some of the things that I came up with, or that are like actually really strengths that people can gain from processing through and working through their trauma and healing from it. So I think we spend too much time talking about how terrible trauma is. And it is. It's the caveat, right? Is like, it's not a gift. We don't want it to happen, but there are good things that can come out on the other side. So for me specifically, like what I talked about is like, I learned that my performance was tied to my love. I constantly was striving as a young child to get my parents to notice and love me and give me that verbal affirmation and that like physical affection that I never felt like I could get. Like I could never be good enough, right? So I developed this really uncanny ability to just like keep going, keep going, keep going. I would suppress my own feelings, my own needs to perform for other people. I would play small. I would suppress my own needs because it would make other people more comfortable. And my worth was very much tied to my performance, meaning that I would, you know, I was always like really hard on myself to get straight A's and get the best job and, you know, do the best work and in an effort to be noticed and loved and get appreciation and affection from my parents. And that in a lot of ways it served me, right? Like I got good grades. I did well in school. I got into a great college. I got a, you know, top position in an entry level career that I wanted to go into in a very competitive market. And it was all because I had this like high motivation, high drive, and I was very you know, performance driven. But ultimately, eventually, what that did to me is it made it impossible for me to rest, right? Rest felt scary because, like, how can I rest if I have to be performing all the time to earn love. So rest actually like is a direct threat to me being loved, right? And you can see how over time, like maybe sometimes that served me, but over time, like when I lived in that space where I had to be performing at all times, it became really unhealthy. And then I was just living in this state of like sympathetic dominance where I was in this fight or flight and I'm like, go, 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 right? And even still today, I see that come up in myself sometimes, this performance driven work, like feeling like I have to do certain things, meet certain deadlines that nobody else is putting on me except for myself. Like, oh, I have to have this done by this date. Otherwise, like it's useless, right? And I don't speak to myself like that anymore after many years of coaching and healing and doing this work. But like I find myself in those patterns, right? I will find myself feeling stressed about impending deadlines that I'm putting the deadlines on myself. It's like, says who? This has to be finished by, you know, Thursday, says who? Like I am putting that deadline on myself, right? And what it does is it makes the nervous system never able to fully calm down, never able to fully exhale, and keeps you in a state of sympathetic overdrive, sympathetic dominance, which is dysregulation, right? We want to come into sympathetic when it's appropriate, but then we want to come back down. We want to be able to rest, digest, heal. And so that's what like for me, that cycle has been much of my own growth, is like learning how to recognize before it goes too far, right? That like I'm driving and pushing myself and not listening to what I truly need. And for me, that's obviously what led to my job, right? And what I do now. And like it is literally the honor of a lifetime to be in this position where I actually get to help women heal from the anxiety, from the physical symptoms, from the sympathetic dominance, right? So they can live and walk out fully the identity that God called for them without using pills and protocols. You can heal your body, soul, and spirit completely naturally. And it starts with your identity and your nervous system. Who do you believe you are? And what is your nervous system doing? Oh, over and over and over again. And that is, I know that is my calling on earth. Romans 8:28, my favorite verse. I say it all the time. God works all things for the good of those who love him. So I know that everything that I went through as a kid and learning that performance driven love and like tying my worth to my performance, I had to go through all of that so I could help walk people through it now. And what an honor. Like, and I would not have learned that had I not walked through that, right? So that's an important, I wouldn't trade that. I don't want to go experience the trauma again, but that's a huge benefit. That's a huge win for me, is that I've now come out on the other side. I know how I can get through hard things. I believe in myself. I'm truly compassionate with myself. I have empathy for other people. I think like an immense amount of empathy for other people in situations where other people might find it hard to have empathy. I can really understand how these patterns are created. And that's what makes me a really good person and a good coach, right? Is because I'm able to see these patterns from the outside and have empathy for somebody who's existing inside of the pattern, but help lead them out, help guide them out. Take my hand, I'll walk you out on the other side. And so for me, that feels like a complete benefit, a win. You know, it is definitely something good that has come out of healing. And that you know, recognizing that pattern and learning how to exist outside of that, learning that my performance, my worth is not tied to my performance, learning that I can rest, that's changed everything. It's changed my relationship with myself, which has changed my relationships with other people. It's changed how I am a parent. It's changed my business. It's changed my career. It's changed my health. It's changed literally everything. That you can't not think that that's good, right? So again, like trauma itself is not a good thing. I'm not minimizing the impact and the effect of trauma. And I'm not saying like we should just like all go and experience trauma because then we have growth on the other side of it. But like it can't, if we choose to look at it from a positive perspective, it can be a positive thing when you come out on the other side of it. That's what I'm saying. Not everyone experiences this post-traumatic growth, right? Like we talked about, like being able to make meaning of it, being able to make sense of it, turn your mess into a message, recognize that there is a reason, right? There is something that you are learning from that. And having support and community and like a coach or a therapist or somebody to help you see that is how you are able to get this post-traumatic growth. How do you move through this trauma and actually experience the growth that's on the other side? Trauma itself isn't the gift. It's the healing that produces the growth and the gift. And lastly, I just want to say, like, all of this, like, I hope this has served you. I hope you can look at your trauma maybe from a different perspective. But I want to also say, like, if you are still in the middle of your healing journey, I want you to never lose hope, because I say it all the time on all of my podcasts. Healing is always possible. None of this is a surprise to the Lord. And I promise you, he always works things for your good. He wastes absolutely nothing. And if you allow your perspective to consider that maybe something good could come out of this, then something good can come out of it. Your current situation, your current pain, it wasn't your fault, and it doesn't have to define you. But what you do from here is your choice. So just consider that maybe one day Your greatest pain could be your testimony and could help other people heal themselves, right? Just like my pain did. Some of the worst experiences of my life have guided me to this very moment right now, where I'm speaking to you on a podcast about how blessed I am in this work, in this job, in this life, in my health, in my marriage, as a mother, like so many ways. My life is definitely not perfect, but I am blessed, and everything that I've been through, the hard things, the painful things, the trauma, the traumatic things, like they have all led me to this moment right here where I'm walking out my calling on earth. And it starts with awareness, and it starts with recognizing that you can have this too. You can't change what happened to you, but you can choose what comes from it. So if you're in this situation, if you're in these cycles, this is the work that I do. I help women who've experienced trauma recognize and understand how that trauma has informed their beliefs about themselves and kept them sick and stuck, so that they can move outside of those patterns, rewire the beliefs about themselves so they can heal from the inside out. And if this is you, I would love to invite you into coaching with me. I offer one-to-one coaching, and I offer cohort style group and one-to-one coaching in the Freedom Collective. Let's jump on a call and see which one of those programs is the best fit for you. I would be honored to take your hand and walk you through to the other side. Remember, this is not just a message. This is a movement, and healing is always possible. If this episode blessed you, please share it with a friend, like it, share it on your social media so we can get the word out and have other people recognize that healing is always possible. Love y'all. See you on the next episode. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Holistic Health with Melissa. It is such an honor to have you here. If you found value in today's episode, would you share it with a friend who might need it too, and leave us a review? If you have questions or topic suggestions, reach out on social media or visit our website, holistichealthbymelissa.com, and take care. I'll catch you on the next episode.